welcome back to this debate. Today is going to be better than last year's 40 grand final. What do you think, Luke?
It's going to be awesome.
Okay, but before we get into it, let's interview some people.
What's your name? What do you do for a job?
I'm a camera for.
Are you excited for the debate?
Yes, I am. Very excited. Oh, geez, that's some pretty cool stuff you got there.
Not much.
Pretty easy. What's your name?
I'm Caleb.
Is your job hard?
Well, sometimes it can be very hard, especially when you need to suddenly switch.
Okay, so are you excited about today's debate?
Oh yeah, I'm pumped.
Really? Okay. Can I touch one?
You might break it.
No, I promise I won't.
Sure, fine.
So yeah, that was lovely. Okay, people, and what is your job?
I'm a timekeeper. I'm a chairperson.
Do you love doing this?
It is just fantastic. Get to sit in the chair. I'm a chairperson. Get to read some
Okay,
papers.
I understand. Is it fun?
It's very fun. It's fun because you get to watch it.
Are you excited about today's debate?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Yeah, heaps.
Okay, thank you.
Which team are you and are you excited for the debate?
We're the negative.
And we are excited for the debate.
Been
We've been training for a long time now.
You must be the affirmative team?
Yes, we are.
And are you ready for this debate?
I'm not sure. This is our first one.
Yeah, we're very nervous, but we think we'll win. We practice
That's weird. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
with all the hats. They're a very good audience.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go see what Miss Cooper's doing.
Hey, what are you doing? Get out of here!
Oh, look, we have some fans. Are you guys excited about the debate?
Yes.
Affirmative or
Alright, enough with the interviews, let's get on with the debate.
Welcome to Terrell High School Live Stream Debate Challenge. Today, each speaker may speak for 4 minutes. There will be a warning bell at 3 minutes, 2 bells at 4 minutes, and a continuous bell if the speaker reaches 5 minutes. The adjudicator for this debate is Miss Cooper. On the affirmative team, we have first speaker Carla, second speaker Phoebe, third speaker Ethan, and fourth speaker Ava. On the negative team, we have first speaker Wyatt, second speaker Grace, third speaker Susanna, and fourth speaker Jack. The topic for today's debate is remote learning is better than traditional school learning. Now please, welcome the first speaker of the affirmative team to open the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a massive problem. Traditional schooling is just not working anymore. Kids are becoming stressed and feeling the pressure of their peers to do well in work that might be too hard for them. And what are kids going to do about that? Nothing, because they haven't been taught the skills to responsibly manage their time or their workload. A teacher or their friends have always been there doing it for them. This is why remote learning is better than traditional learning. Turning to the definition, how exactly are we going to make this topic work? Where is this going to apply? Within all primary schools across Australia, not high schools, because the students have multiple teachers and an increased workload as well as more standardised tests, so it wouldn't really work for them. What are the details? Teachers should set the work, but students will be the ones to determine how long they spend on each task and when they will do them. This will give the kids responsibility skills they are severely lacking. When is this going to begin? We want to ensure teachers have enough time to set appropriate work for each student and answer any questions about technology that the students will be using. So let's say, by the start of next term, all primary school students can be undertaking remote learning. I, as the first speaker, will be explaining how students' stress levels are rising, how the classroom environment is detrimental to students' learning, and that some families haven't come back to traditional schooling. My second speaker will be talking about the benefits of being able to manage your own schoolwork, the responsibility skills that students will learn along the way, and the tech skills that will help students along in later life. These arguments will prove that remote learning is better than traditional schooling. My first argument will show that kids' stress levels are rising. Right now, kids are rushing in the mornings trying to finish their job so they won't miss the bus or be late for school. When they finally get to school, they're surrounded by people, some friends and some bullies. This is making kids stressed, and it will negatively affect their well-being. After the change, kids will not have to rush in the morning, and they won't have to be around kids that make them feel unhappy or worried. They will be doing all of their work at home, deciding when is the best time to start and finish. That's important because students have a right to feel safe and comfortable in the environment that they learn in. For example, 1 in 7 primary school kids suffer from depression, which can be caused by increased stress levels and problems with their peers, such as bullying. For this reason, remote learning is better than traditional schooling. My second argument will show that students are getting distracted by kids around them. Right now, kids are just trying to get their work done, but other students are messing around and distracting them. Just think that if it was you who had a very important task to do, but other kids around you are being very noisy and distracting, how would you feel? After the change, the kids will be at home enjoying being able to do their work without getting distracted and being in a place where there isn't much noise. Now, wouldn't that be better? This is important because students need a quiet and peaceful environment to learn in. For example, I can easily get distracted at school by my friends when I am trying to do my work, but when I am at home doing my work, I can concentrate more and get my work done quicker. And that's why remote learning is better than traditional schooling. My third argument will show why some families have not come back to traditional learning. Right now, everyday kids have constant stress over what to pack for school, what time to get there, whether that kid will look funny at them again, how to budget maths, and so on. After the change, kids will be able to do their schoolwork without stress or worrying about bullying or not being on time. Plus, they can finish their work early to have time to play with their friends or play video games. That's important because the less stress they have, the better they will do in school. For example, some kids haven't come back to traditional schooling after trying out remote learning because their families found that it was better suited to their kids. And that's why remote learning is better than traditional schooling. Thank you.
We accept the definition. What if they don't finish on time and they won't be able to have time at home afterwards? There are devices at home that will distract you from doing your work. If you are getting distracted at school, there are teachers to calm the class and quiet them. And there are more people bullied online than there are in schools. If students are stressed at school, they have friends and teachers to help them. For students setting time, they are too young to have that responsibilities. Our team's first argument will be telling you that remote learning damages students' social life. My team's second argument is that they wouldn't be getting as much exercise as they would at school. The third argument will be about the mental health of the students. Our team's second speaker will be talking about how students need help when at home. Their second argument will be about how students would not be getting the same opportunity and experiences as when they would be at school. And our last argument will be talking about kids not being motivated to do their work, and without someone watching over them, they would become distracted. These facts are all proven that traditional learning is superior to remote learning. Our team's first argument is that students need to have a social life, and being locked up at home will stop them from seeing their friends that make them happy. Right now, kids are having so much fun at school with their friends, learning and playing with everyone at their school. After the change, kids will feel lonely and be sad at home, locked up in their houses with no one to talk or play with. They'll feel lonely for the entirety of their school lives. That's why we need kids to go to school, to be with their friends. It's important because kids will have a more positive life, and half of the kids will not be able to stay in contact with some of their best friends, which will cause anxiety and depression. For example, example, when we started doing remote learning, people around the globe found it hard to connect with their friends, which caused depression for a lot of people because they weren't seeing the people that made them happy and delighted to see them. Their friends made them happy. When they were down and doing remote learning, will risk the stage of depression and anxiety, which will be very fatal in their lives. That's why I think that we should not do remote learning and stick with traditional learning. Our second argument is that children wouldn't be getting the same amount of exercise. Right now, students can go in the field or play with the equipment, which most schools have, and play for hours each day. That isn't including the time they go outside with their teachers and play games of capture the flag, dodgeball, running, and so many more activities. After the change, children wouldn't be able to go on walks around the neighbourhood because their parents would be at work. They would be able to go in the backyard, but that would become boring quickly. Children must be getting the necessary exercise that they need, because if they don't, they'll become unfit and unhealthy. And do we want that? For example, if I was to stop going to school, I wouldn't be getting the recommended amount of exercise, and that can lead me to possibly getting cancer. So why should we torture these innocent kids to possibly getting harm? Every year, 1.4 billion people across the globe are at risk of these symptoms. So just for a second, imagine what it would be like to be one of those students. And that's why we should stay with traditional learning. My team's third argument is that we haven't considered the mental health of the students. Right now, children have friends and teachers to talk to if they're feeling lonely, sad, or depressed, and that can make them feel happy and want to go to school. After the change, when they're at home, they might feel insecure to open up and talk to their parents, and that will damage their mental health severely. Students would also miss their friends, which is another reason why students would be depressed during remote learning. We must ensure that children don't become depressed and think they aren't good enough. How do you think the future would look if every generation had a mental illness? For example, if we switched to remote learning, the number of students with depression would skyrocket, all because of students missing their friends and becoming shy. And that's why we should not switch to remote learning.
Just because of remote learning doesn't mean you can't necessarily see your friends. You can still see your friends when you call them, or you could go over to each other's houses. Some people feel safer at home. They feel like they could do whatever they want. They feel comfortable. You're not actually locked up in your house just because of remote learning. If kids finish their work early, they will have more time to exercise and hang out with their friends. My team's fourth argument will show that if students do remote learning, they can manage their time better. Right now, some students are either doing work that is too easy for them, for their skill level, or their work is too hard. After the change, students can work on what they need more time on instead of wasting time on what they already know. They can use that time to work on harder math equations or some uncompleted work. That's important because certain people struggle and have different strengths that they need to work on to understand it better and use it further in the future. For example, students don't struggle with math equations and subtraction while their peers may be having trouble. The kids that can do it easily will be doing work that they already know how to do. That is why remote learning is better than traditional schooling. My team's fifth argument will show that technology skills will further help students in the future. Right now, kids are using boring old pen and paper in their schools. The person they're sitting next to might accidentally spill their drink of water. This can make the results irreversible. After the change, students will be using easy to manage technology, no water spills included. That's important because with the increasing amount of work we get further on in the school year, it gets harder to manage, especially with paper and pen. For example, I suffer from hand cramps and without technology my progress would be severely delayed. That's why remote learning is better than traditional learning. My team's sixth argument will show that students will be more responsible at home. Right now, kids all around the world forget to do something school related. a pencil case, their homework, a book for silent reading. The only reason they don't forget is their parents or teachers who endlessly remind them. Even then, they still forget. After the change, students will gradually learn responsibility skills over time. Without their teacher telling them to hand in their work, it will be all up to them to know the time and date to hand in assignments. That's important because with these skills, they can help you further on in time. For example, in high school you have much more subjects and much more homework. You would have to hand in multiple assignments, which could lead to consequences from your teacher. That is why remote learning is clearly the better option.
When they're working, they might feel stressed and forget a subject, and then they won't get the education they need because they won't know how to do it. There won't be any water spills, and if there are, it'll destroy your laptop at home, and then you won't be able to work. At school, we use tech and we do bring your own device, so we won't use pen and paper and that this stuff won't happen. Some students don't know how to use devices. When you're calling friends, it won't be the same because you won't actually be able to hear their voice and hug them and play with them. Kids will most likely be on devices and screens instead of exercising outside. Teachers are finding work at their level, so it won't be as hard. Friends and teachers can help at school, but if you're at home, there's no teachers there to help you. So if you do get stuck, then you can't, Our team's fourth argument is that remote learning is hard. When you're doing remote learning, it is hard to get help. Learning is one of the most important things in life. Right now, kids are doing well in school. They achieve good results because of the help they receive from their teachers. And if they're at home all alone, they will not get the help they need. After the change, kids will have to struggle through difficult equations because they wouldn't know how to do it without the help of teachers. It's important to go to school so you can get the help on things you struggle with, and you'll be able to achieve many more things. For example, when we did remote learning, I wasn't doing my best because I got stuck on things and couldn't get the help I needed. That's why we believe we shouldn't do remote learning. Our team's fifth argument is going to state that traditional schooling will give you many more opportunities for life. At school, you'll be able to get a better understanding on how things work. Right now, students are growing up to be independent and hard-working adults that will have a good paying job that will provide for their future. They would have had a good education and a good degree, which will have let them have a positive future. After the change though, the opportunities will decrease as there will be no group work available and teamwork will be difficult. They will not have the opportunities that some kids will have because they do traditional learning. It's important to do traditional learning so students can grow up to have many more choices and opportunities. Doing traditional learning will increase the chance to have an educational life. For example, when I did remote learning, my learning went down because my parents weren't taught to teach me, and they also had work to do, so they were quite distracted themselves. That's why we believe we shouldn't do remote learning. My team's sixth argument will show that if you do remote learning, you will get distracted. Devices will disturb the kids that are trying to work on their equations for school. Right now, kids can work on everything at school without having distractions. After the to change. Students will be stuck at home with the TV screaming at them to sit down and relax. There will be so many distracting things. Students will get distracted and will go off course, which will affect their education. It's important because kids need to have an educational life so they can stay clever and intelligent. So if you do your schoolwork at school, you won't have distractions and you will have a good education. For example, when I was doing schoolwork at home, I would get distracted a lot and I would be watching TV some of the time. I couldn't focus because there were so many distractions at home. I was never able to stay on course with my work. That's why we believe that we shouldn't do remote learning.
If you work in your room, then you won't be distracted. Parents can confiscate the devices until the work is done. You're not in quarantine, it's just remote learning. You would not have to have the stress of getting ready for school in the morning. We use devices and all of our work is on them. Why are people homeless if students grow up and get a good job? Brothers and sisters or your parents can help you. You also have the internet. You can just ask your parents for help. A water spill is less likely to happen at home. Why have the water next to your desk at home when you have tap water? My team has convinced you that remote learning is better than traditional schooling. We've explained that students' stress levels are rising at school because they are constantly dealing with social conflict. In the classroom environment, they are surrounded by distractions and loud noise, whereas at home, students have the opportunity to create an environment where they can concentrate and feel comfortable. Even after a small taste of remote learning, some families have kept their kids home, as remote learning has benefited their well-being. We have also talked about how students can manage their time at home to ensure they are focusing on their areas of need, rather than being bored learning something that they have already done time and time again. Students are able to build upon their responsibility skills by managing their own time and learning. Their ability to use technology will skyrocket, which will benefit them in the future when they get a good job and become a useful and forward-thinking member of society. If you believe that students should be happy, healthy, educated, and skilled young people, then remote learning is the way of the future.
The other team's argument was that parents could help you when you're stuck. But think about it, parents already have all these jobs to take care of their kids that they shouldn't be expected to know how to teach every single subject that you teach in school. And the other team's argument was also that you could also get distracted, but the teachers are there and it's part of their job to quiet the class when needed. And parents, you might think that they know everything, but after the years and years of them being alive, they could forget most things. So they don't know every single subject. And when they were also in school, they might have not learned that because the world is evolving. At home, if you only use a device and you can spill water on it, but you can't help it because you need water there so you don't dehydrate. My team explained that traditional schooling is a wiser approach to educating young people than remote learning could ever be. Students enjoy a better social life while with their friends at school. They don't have to talk through screens or be stuck without any form of communication at all. Studies also show that young people are more likely to exercise with their friends. Without traditional schooling, students would lack the motivation and drive to keep themselves physically active and healthy. We all have dreams and aspirations of doing 50 push-ups a day or going for a run, but in reality, when we're at home, we rate the cupboards for snacks and enjoy them while watching other people exercise on Ninja Warrior. Mentally, students are stronger when they can reach out when they are around their friends,
because they can reach out for support and get a hug from the people that they can trust most. Students also have many numerous opportunities to show off their skills while in the old established schooling. Are you a natural born arguer? Then the inter-school debating team is just for you. Do you like blowing stuff up and analysing why and how it happened? Without traditional schooling, we wouldn't have the opportunities to participate in things such as science fairs. Students are also able to seek educational assistance at school. They aren't being held captive inside concrete walls with only their ideas and knowledge to guide them as they would be in remote learning. Imagine the millions of students whose education will be negatively affected, all because they can't simply raise their hand and easily get the help that they need. Many kids got distracted over the few months we had remote learning and didn't get the appropriate amount of work done. But you just can't help it when the television is calling your name, or you have the sudden urge to bake brownies, make chocolate cupcakes, or make a huge 3-deck cake. So do you want to ensure that all students have the opportunities to enjoy a safe and quality future? Well then, let's stop turning straight to remote learning. Please welcome our adjudicated Miss Cooper to announce the winner of our debate.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to our affirmative and negative team for presenting your arguments on remote learning is better than traditional schooling today. You both had really well-structured arguments on both sides, so thank you for putting the time and the effort into creating those and brainstorming together. Bravo on one of your first attempts at a proper rebuttal. Everyone did a fantastic job. And as for our results, it was a close one, but today, the victory for today's debate is going to the negative team.
Chairperson Owen, Timekeeper Jackson, the affirmative team and the audience for watching.
I'd like to thank the adjudicator, Miss Cooper, Jackson and Owen, the negative team and the audience for watching and coming here today for our debating.